Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome everyone to this transcendental program of studying Bhagavad Dharma, called Param Dharma, or the highest duty of humankind, especially for the practitioners of the path of pure devotional service, Prema Bhakti. Currently, we are studying Sri Prema Bhakti Chandrika by Sri Narottam Das Thakur. Narottam Das Thakur, who is the embodiment of pure bhakti. Actually, so much love of God, as we discussed in the beginning, so much love of God, Nityananda Prabhu was overflowing out of his loving sentiments for Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who is the combined form of Sri Radha Krishna. So naturally, the love which Nityananda Prabhu expressed for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Radha Krishna Prem, and that overflowing love at that time, Mahaprabhu, he collected and just stored in the Padmavati river. And he cried out, Narottam, Narottam, Narottam. Who is that Narottam? And then Mahaprabhu revealed that a great devotee will come and only he can hold on to this flow of love, Prema Bhakti. And how wonderful that pastime. The Padmavati, the river personified. I said, oh Lord, how would I know that I have to resort or just put this love which you have reserved or deposited with me to that person. Then Mahaprabhu said, the kind of overwhelming, joy which we are feeling in the forms of the waves, that kind of joy and elation, if you feel by somebody's coming, that means he is Narottam. So this is how we know. Now such the total essence of teachings of Mahaprabhu and his primary followers, Rupa Sanatana Goswami. We discussed in the previous few slokas the glories of Rupa Sanatana's contribution in fulfilling the manobhishta, or the fulfilling the inner desire of Mahaprabhu's heart, manobhishta, and how the specific nature of the unique, unprecedented, never been given before, never given before that gift. And as we were studying, such a unique nature, or such a unique nature of the fortune of those who are who are in the confidential service of the Radharani's lotus feet, the Manjaris, correct? And comparatively, what kind of you know, what kind of fortune is that? And we discussed that, especially Yugal Kishore Prem Lakshmana Jenohem. This topic is point is so amazing. The love of the divine couple, it is so pure. And those who experience joy only in serving their happiness. Means this is so wonderful. Everybody also, who doesn't want, by nature, the soul is seeking for ananda, for the joy. So naturally, the motivation is to experience joy oneself. But those who are in the confidential service of Srimati Radharani and Radha Krishna, they have no concept of their own, about their own happiness. This is how it stands out so much. We have to appreciate this concept, which was expressed in the last shlokas. By very nature, every living entity, any conscious being is searching out for Ananda. If Krishna is the source of Ananda, raso vai saha, rasam hi evayam labdha anandi bhavati. Right? By contacting Krishna, or you can connected to Krishna, one experiences joy. But the nature of experiencing joy by the confidential maidservants of Srimati Radharani and even Sakhi's associates, they are only happy to make Radha and Krishna happy all the times. And Mahaprabhu has revealed that yes, we can also get the mercy or mercy adhikar or kripa adhikar, means the privilege or eligibility through mercy to hanker what the manjaris hanker for. So it is a joy beyond, means which was never explained to anybody, even to the great stalwarts, Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Hanuman, Uddhav, Shukdev Goswami, whatsoever. No. How so? Can you imagine? That describes how great, how pure is the love of the divine couple. That by simply serving, they only want to serve. They have no concept of their. They don't have even the motivation that by serving the divine couple, they will get a lot of joy. No, no. The very attraction, very temptation just to serve them. The purest, highest level of service. Or the joy in accordance to our Swarup. This is the concept we have been discussing here. Our greatest fortune is in accordance to our Swarup, is the eternal servant or maid servant of Sri Radha Krishna. And in that, the Seva Adhikar, the joy which we experience, that's why we use the example of the sports. You know, we want someone else just continue playing, and we simply keep facilitating and felicitating the continuation of their play. So some glimpse we get through this sports example, and but any example in the material world, it just falls short of like a wholesome nature. Wholesome nature, it does not last forever, you know. But the engagement of the maid servants of Srimati Radharani, they are eternally engaged in the service. So they are the embodiment of that vicarious rasa. They remain so obsessed in serving the continuation of the joy of the divine couple, and they get to relish not only the sweetness of their pastimes, but they also get the fulfillment in accordance to their swarup as a servant, as the maid servant. So dual, and that's why they stand out. And how much they stand out, that was described. Of course, Radha and Krishna's pastimes are very confidential, and the Sakhis, or those who associate with them, you know, they control. Everything is in their authority. If anybody wants to connect to the service of Radha Krishna, they have to go through the authority of the Sakhis. And when Sakhis authorize, how they will authorize? If we are seen with the proper attitude, and so everybody has to learn from the Sakhis how to attend the service of the divine couple. But amongst the Sakhis, that was the turning point where Mahaprabhu comes in the picture. Amongst the Sakhis, the Manjaris, Srimati Radharani's maid servants, who love Radharani more than they love Krishna. This concept is very, very novel. They have the purest love for the divine pair, purer than even the Sakhis. Purer in the sense how selfless, nothing they want for the self. This is where the concept of selfless service reaches its acme or zenith. Because their sentiments of their heart, they are so much in tune with Radharani, their Swamini, our Swamini, that compared to Sakhis, even though the Sakhis also don't desire to amorously meet with Krishna either, but by Radharani's wish or efforts, they may still meet with Sri Krishna. There's a special position of the Sakhis, whereby they have to comply, they somehow agree. Okay. But the Manjari is, even if Radharani is a test to try to put them in Krishna's embrace, they just sneak out. You know? Even the nature of Sakhi is also indescribable in that sense, that they don't have personal desire to enjoy with Krishna. As Naika, although they are fully capable to act as Naika, but they would rather join as the helping assistants of Srimati Radharani. They are for them, Radharani is the Yutheshwari, or the leader of that group, and they are just assistants. But Radharani, because they are Kai Vyavastha, they are equal to Radharani in most ways. And so they get to, by Radharani's will. But the maid servants are in a different category. Sakhis also don't covet personal pastimes with Krishna. Rather, they are millions of times happier when Krishna plays with Radharani. Then they would enjoy with Krishna themselves. Although Sakhis do not think of enjoying with Krishna, still Radharani very diligently, tricks them and feels 1,000 times or many thousand times more pleasure than her union with Krishna himself. So this is very amazing. Sakhis are interested only to make Radharani meet with Krishna, and Radharani feels 1,000 or million times more joy by making her Sakhis meet with Krishna. She experiences more joy, more fun, than by the fun she experiences with union with Krishna herself. So she sends the Sakhis, Radharani sends the Sakhis to meet with Krishna under various pretexts. And that makes her again millions of times happier than if she would personally meet Krishna. In this way, the purity of their mutual love nourishes the mellows, and when Krishna sees the love of them, for them means Radharani's love for her Sakhis and Sakhis' love for their Radharani. their leader, he is very satisfied. Such glorious. Can there be anything more than that? But here comes the Mahaprabhu. However, the maid servants who love Radharani more than Krishna, who are known as Manjaris, correct? They never desire to meet with Krishna personally, even in the dream. There is different species. Krishna knows that he is the all attractor. Everybody is attracted towards him. It's a common experience of Krishna, except for these Manjaris. The Manjaris, they are not enchanted conjugally towards Krishna. How can they override or bypass? The natural attraction to Krishna is, because he's the Cupid, he's the supreme Cupid. Kandarpa Koti Kamaniye Visheshisho. Krishna is so cunningly beautiful that he subdues even the attraction of millions of Cupids. Which woman can let go that attraction? But the Manjaris, because they have greater love for Radharani, so their enchantment by the status or the disposition of Srimati Radharani is so amazing. They appreciate her love and the variegatedness of her disposition or bhav so much so that they would rather just serve Radharani in her loving, in her effort to please Krishna more and more, rather than themselves trying to associate with Krishna at all. They are exclusively fixed in a service attitude. They are totally surrendered to devotional service, and the entire constitution consists of only the flavors of devotional service. This practice of Manjari Bhava is the greatest desired goal of us, the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this is the unprecedented, merciful gift of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we are on the way to become the full recipient of that ultimate gift of Manjari Bhava. So, in glorification of Rup Sanatana Goswami, that comes the ultimate. They are the teachers of this Manjari Bhava, and they have elaborately described the principles of this practice of Manjari Bhava in their books. And aiming at this practice of Manjari Bhava and wanting to establish this practice as the greatest of all, they have propounded different principles, philosophies, and narratives. The best proof of that is Sri Sanatana Goswami Pad's scripture, Brihat Bhagavatamrita. In this way, the Manjari's most pure love for the adolescent Kishori pair, Sri Radha Krishna, has been revealed in all details by Sri Rup Sanatana Goswami. And this is how he glorified the contribution of Rup Sanatana Goswami. Now, in today's Sloka, we will how the essence in order to, on the way in our devotional journey, at whatever stage we might be, or sadhak might be, different conditioning, how to decondition him, and eventually, step by step, coming to appreciate the would-be fortune of all of us on the way to attaining this Manjari Bhav process, initial process for purification. What practices we should participate in, and what things we should avoid if you want to attain the platform of bhajan at the highest level. Parama bhajana. If you want to understand what is the bhajan or the practice of devotional dedication at the highest level, there he's preparing. So this Prema Bhakti Chandrika is so systematically for all the sadhakas, whatever things they have been doing in the name of religiosity or religious performance, they will help the sadhaka to sort out, you know, to let go certain things, so-called religious or pious. They just move and to adopt only those practices they are which are only meant to cause this highest mood of causing our highest or attraction to this Manjari Bhav. Because this will be, this point will come again and again, but so now the educational part, do's and not do's, they will, anvay vyatirekavyam. This is what you have to do, and certain things which we don't have to do. Only two kinds of instructions. Now the instruction part starts in this Prema Bhakti Chandrika. The glorification and the prayers, everything is now the teachings. Slok Sankhya 11. The title is Bhagavad Shastra Marma Navavidha Bhakti Dharma. Sadai Koribo Susevana. Bhagavad Shastra Marma Navavidha Bhakti Dharma. Sadai Koribo Susevana. Anya Devashraya Nai. Tomare ko hilo bhai. Ei bhakti param bhajana. Ei bhakti param bhajana. The Bhagavad Purana, Sri Chaitanya, Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. The Bhagavad Purana teaches us 9 kinds of devotional service, which I will always render. So 9 kinds of devotional service, which I will always render nicely. I tell you, oh brother, bhai, I do not seek shelter of other gods. Or Bhagavata Shastra Marma Navavidha Bhakti Sadai Karibo Susevana Anya Devashraya Nai Tomare Kahilo Bhai Ei Bhakti Parama Bhajana. This devotion is mentioned and established, the Navda Bhakti, the 9-fold, 9 kinds of devotional service is the highest worship. So, what is the 9 kind of devotion? Elaboration. So, how one ultimately would qualify? So, that explanation is given here. Although Narottam Das Thakur, he is recognized, or he has been given the title, he has been glorified as Prema Bhakti Maharaja. It's a very embodiment of pure bhakti, or is the ideal, king. Prema Bhakti Maharaj. He whose qualification for loving devotion is matchless within the society of Vaishnavas, Narottam Das Thakur. Still, he humbly considers himself an ordinary aspirant by saying, Bhagavad Shastra Marma Navavidha Bhakti Dharma. He could have only just discussed, oh, this Navda Bhakti, this is for the, beginning devotees and like that. We are we must directly go to the highest. Just discuss Prem Bhakti and but always following in the footsteps of his predecessors, Rup Sanatana Goswami, in order to benefit the masses at large. This Bhagavata Dharma encompasses everyone. The Manjari Bhav or the practice of it directly, it's very, very rare. It's by some greed or some association, what we are discussing is so rare. And even when we discuss, most of us may not qualify directly. It's possible. And so, just to help us out, Narottam Das Thakur is just presenting as an ideal for all of us. Although he's totally saturated in Manjari Bhava, but his attitude towards others or his disposition towards others is that he's following the Bhagavat path, considering him as a beginning event. In the sense of the great lesson who said, Sri Prema, that although our aspiration is same as Narottam Das Thakur, Rup Sanatan, and what Mahaprabhu has come to give, but we must appreciate that Bhagavat Dharma. Because if we have this attitude that, oh, we are practicing something very highest, so we don't give so much importance to studying of Bhagavatam, different cantos, different rasas and everything. Rather, Bhagavat has to be honored through and through. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while he was in Gambhira in Jagannath Puri, he was relishing, he was studying Srimad Bhagavat full, from beginning to end, and especially the teachings of the pastime, or the episode of Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruv Maharaj, the boy Prahlad Maharaj, 5-year-old, and Dhruv Maharaj, their devotional fervor and their practice and all these things, in order to attain supreme, how much sacrifice one should be ready to make. We make little sacrifice, little discomfort, we become perturbed to attain, because, and in spite of performing so much austerity and in spite of going through so many atrocities inflicted upon them, they remained steadfast. They didn't give up. They didn't lose their determination or anything. So Mahaprabhu would get the motivation from such devotees as Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruv Maharaj, thinking in order to attain Krishna. When the pangs of separation one feels, then one naturally feels oneself very insignificant. We haven't experienced that. We are, even if we talk, going directly very high. We have not been tested as yet. That's why, even after finding our acute focus on Sri Radha Dashyam, we must, and in order to develop this sense of humility, and in order to realize our utter incapacitatedness, utter insignificance and fallen condition, in the present moment, we may be situated well enough whereby we don't so much worry or think about our fallen condition or insignificancy, and we comparatively may think we are much better, we are very fortunate, everything, but we are yet to be tested. We are speaking for all of us. And that's why these acharyas, they're so wonderful. They know that even when we target Sri Radha Dashyam, there is a journey yet to be traversed. We have yet to finish this, traverse this path of pure devotional service. And on this path, as our life continues, goes further and further, we will face many situations, many issues. And don't kill anyone. Any little thing can just can disturb, or a sadhak should will be very safe enough to think that he's still very shallow. Our appreciation and our readiness for Radha Dashyami is still not enough. We are still very shallow. We are not deeply rooted as yet. We can always target it, but we have to deepen. We have to become more and more grounded, from whatever condition we are at present. So with that attitude, Narottam Das Thakur, although he is the embodiment of pure devotional service, he is calling himself that an ordinary aspirant by saying this. Bhagavad Shastra Varma Navavidha Bhakti Dharma Sadai Koribo Susevan. I will always practice the Bhagavad path of ninefold devotional service, and different 9 devotees are established as the ideal for them. Who is the ideal of Shravana Bhakti? What is the first one? Shravanam Kirtanam. Who is the ideal of Shravana Bhakti? Anybody knows? Who perfected the Krishna consciousness through the practice of hearing Krishna Katha? King Parikshit, correct? Who attained the perfection by Kirtanam? Kirtanam Bhakti, who attained perfection by Kirtan Bhakti? Shukadev Goswami, correct? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smarnam. Who is the ideal who attained perfection of Krishna consciousness through the practice of remembering Krishna? Prahlad Maharaj, correct? In the same way, 9 other Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smarnam, Pada Sevanam. Who is the Pada Sevana? The worshipping the lotus feet of Krishna. Who attained Pada Sevanam? Lakshmi ji. Right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Pada. Archanam, worshipping. Prithu Pujanam, Prithu Maharaj, worshipping. And then Dasya Bhakti, Hanumanji, Sakhya Bhakti, Arjuna, Uddhavji, you can say. Sakhyam Atma Nivedan. And Atma Nivedan Bhakti is, who is the ideal Bali Maharaj, who offered everything which belonged to him. Krishna took in 2 steps, is Vaman Dev, Vaman Bhagwan. In the 3rd step, where to put, he put all himself. So whatever was his, my was taken, and then me, my and me, both when surrendered, it becomes Atma Samarpana. So what Bhagavad Purana teaches us, 9 kinds of devotional service. And Narottam Das Thakur is saying, and by expressing that he will render 9 kind of devotional service as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, he is also trying to involve us. He says, I will do this. So when great person, as we know that Narottam Das Thakur is the embodiment of pure devotional service, and he is telling what he does, and also attracting our involvement in the same practices. So we cannot say, oh, well, but Narottam Das Thakur himself, actually he's helping us. We have to engage our time, a lot of time in studying Srimad Bhagavatam, because it will prepare us. It will give us some understanding and our appreciation for the rarity of Radha Dashyam, how rare Radha Dashyam is. It will increase comparatively. The practice, the ninefold devotional practice as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the stalwart devotees who devoted their lives, you know, how can we not have appreciation for them? If they struggle so much to attain the supreme and their determination and all that sort, uh, what is our condition? What is our capacity compared to their level of perseverance, their level of tolerance, and their level of determination? We stand nowhere, absolutely. And we are talking about Sri Radha Darshan. It's something so rare, so that we prepare with right attitude that it is not by our qualification, not because of anything. It is the only pure, unprecedented mercy of Mahaprabhu and mercy of those who are carrying the order of Mahaprabhu, through Sanat and all these stalwarts. At no point in a sadhaka of this Manjari Bhav Upasana or Radha Rashi, a feeling of sense of qualification should creep in. We have to always remind ourselves, train ourselves. Just because the highest thing has been revealed to us, offered to us, we have to sustain the proper mood of humility. Mahaprabhu says, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Saishnuna, Amanina, Manadina, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Narottam Thakur, following in the footsteps of Mahaprabhu, the teaching of humility. He's saying, I'm just trying to follow this ninefold devotional service as mentioned in Bhagavatam. So, why he's saying this? This can be explained in two different ways. How this the Bhagavad Puran teaches us 9 kinds of devotional service. And Narottam Das Thakur says, I will always render those 9 kinds of devotional service. The true purport of the Bhagavata scripture is revealed in the commentaries of the Goswamis, by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and the Goswamis, by the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the purport, the true essence of Bhagavat Dharma, which is mentioned in Bhagavata Puran. Narottam Das Thakur saying, I will constantly study the commentaries on the Bhagavat, like Vaishnava Toshani and Krama Sandarbha. Vaishnava Toshani by Sanatana Goswami Prabhupada and Krama Sandarbha by Jiva Goswami, plus the series Shad Sandarbha that explain the purport of the Bhagavatam, plus the commentaries by the Goswamis, followers, later Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Baldev Vidyabhushan also. And I will always practice the 9 kinds of devotion, like hearing and chanting, which is the natural duty of the living entity, who is Krishna's eternal servant. So that will give us the mood of appreciating other devotees. How can a true practitioner of pure devotional service not appreciate the endeavor and the tribulations, the austerity, and all these hardships they have gone through? And this also demonstrating their determination. So we need a lot of determination, correct? Only just not by wishful thinking that I hanker for Radha and now I'm just immediately given. We have to sustain constantly this mood of utter unqualifiedness and utter incapacitatedness. Akshamta tuchata, and which is very difficult. Are we used to? Are we used to remain humble? I you know, to think of oneself as insignificant. So the more we develop appreciation about the rarity of Radha Dashyam, for that sake, even how difficult to attain the supreme, we will always will have to sustain this mood of humility, because otherwise the tendency that we are very close to Krishna, we are very close to Radha. Mahaprabhu has given us the mood of humility. Yes, say that one should think that Krishna is far, far away from me, and I'm so fallen and I'm so wretched, I'm so insignificant that I can feel myself very unqualified, not worthy of attaining Krishna is far, far away from me. And that's why always hankering for this special mercy. In order to cry for mercy, one has to genuinely feel oneself as very fallen, very insignificant, very incapacitated. And so it's a tremendous tremendous paradox. That's why the study of Prema Bhakti Chandrika is very, very essential. It will not only simultaneously, it will simultaneously give us the focus of our ultimate goal, destination, Radha Rasham. But at the same time, during our sadhana kal, during this time of our sadhana, throughout this lifetime, it will tremendously help us to sustain the proper mood of humility. Because otherwise, if we are connected to the highest goal, and if those who are not connected to the highest goal, we may think of others or anyone as not that high. Just because we talk about high subject matter and we aspire for the highest thing, that doesn't give us the right to think that we have become better. We may be better off, and that's a very good thing. If we think we are better off than other or most, then it becomes more essential. Okay, now, if you think we are better off by having this information of Sri Radha Dashyam, but the onus still remains on us to sustain the proper mood and not allow ourselves to think that we have become better. The moment I think I have become better means I have become qualified, and then Krishna has opportunity to tell us. What is the opportunity of Krishna? Or Krishna's agents? That you are on your own. We are again in trouble. It's the whole process, path of this pure devotional service is to keep the sense of qualifiedness far, far away. We constantly sustain the mood of hankering for more and more mercy. So in order for that, what he's saying that I will constantly study the commentaries on Bhagavata, like like this. Another meaning may be I will always nicely render the 9 kinds of devotion that are the true purport of Srimad Bhagavatam. Either studying, with the proper mood, the commentaries of our acharyas who commented on Srimad Bhagavatam and its meaning. The other thing is the ninefold devotional, 9 kinds of devotion that are the true purport of Srimad Bhagavatam. I will always nicely render, like who rendered ninefold devotional service. We know in the case of King Amrish Maharaj. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, we can learn the following words of Srila Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj says, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Shravanam Pad Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dashyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam Iti Punsar Pita Vishnu's Bhaktis Chennav Lakshana, Kriyete Bhagavati Adha, Tan Mano Adhitam Uttamam, hearing, chanting, and remembering of Sri Vishnu's glories, serving his feet, worshipping his image in the temple. Prathu Maharaj, worshipping his image in the temple, praising him. Who is the ideal in praising Krishna? Akrura. Akrura praised Krishna, while he was approaching Vrindavan to get Krishna to go to Mathura with him. Praising him, serving him, Hanumanji, making friends with him and surrendering oneself to him by offering this ninefold process of devotion directly to the Lord. A living entity performs, in my opinion, Prahlad Maharaj says, the greatest study. This is what Prahlad Maharaj told his father when he inquired, what you have learned from your gurus. And this was the last thing he expected from his son. So Nautam Das Thakur vows to nicely practice the 9 items of devotion as they are propounded by Srimad Bhagavatam. Don't we also, as the practitioners of Manjari Bhava, Pasakas, we also involve in all these practices, don't we? Don't we hear? Don't we sing? Don't we remember? Don't we do all the things? Everything is involved. So in order to keep us constantly engaged in one of the 9 practices, then we will gain appreciation for the others' efforts. It's just like those who build nations, our forefathers, like in America, they say the forefathers who, they went through so much facing atrocities and so much oppressions, and they just fought so much and paid so much price, sacrificing their lives and everything. Because they fought, now we are reaping the fruits of their labor. So we should never forget that, however lofty Hare Krishna. Okay. So, so, so this ninefold devotional practice, which is propounded in Srimad Bhagavatam, is the essence of all the Vedanta and encourages all of us to practice these items to their level best. We should not undermine those practices, because our target is naturally what Mahaprabhu wants to bless us with. But as a sadhaka, we should involve in the Bhagavad study. It's very essential that Mahaprabhu would rejoice the study of Srimad Bhagavatam. Although he's the God himself, he's the embodiment of love and everything, but his study of Bhagavatam providing so much encouragement, so much determination, appreciating the devotional mood of other devotees. So that helps to sustain the mood of humility rather than thinking, I'm so special and I'm so high, so top. We should think that how glorious are other devotees at whatever level. Because we have yet to attend Radha Ashram, we should never forget. One thing has to be inscribed in our consciousness that until we are transferred in that divine or spiritual body, we haven't got anything as yet. How many times we tend to forget this thing? In order that we don't forget this, we have to engage our time in this ninefold devotional service. So here, Sri Narottam Das Thakur does not just say sevana, but susevana, which means that the practitioner who desires his own welfare should practice these 9 items so perfectly well that his heart that is polluted by lusty desires will swiftly become purified, as he will soon develop rati or prema. How he has to practice these 9 types of devotion, starting with hearing and chanting nicely. We will try to discuss a little on the basis of the sacred words of the Goswamis. For if the aspirant, us, if we fail to serve or practice this ninefold devotional service, these items nicely, or he does not know how to practice them expertly, a big delay may arise in his attainment of prema as he progresses in his life of bhajan. How we sustain humility? Only by constantly or all the times being able to appreciate others is more advanced, more elevated, more blessed. Although we do acknowledge that we are also very blessed, but in order to appreciate the others are much, much more blessed. Appreciating other devotees pleases Krishna, attracts Krishna. It will help us to attract Krishna's or Radharani's ultimate mercy towards us. But if we keep the sense of superiority of any sort, then we are in disadvantage. Na prema shravanadi bhakti rapi mam yogo thava vaishnavo jnanam va shubha karma va kiyadaho sajjatirapyasti va हीनार्थाधिक साधके त्वयि तथापि अच्छेद्य मूला सती हे गोपी जन वल्लभ व्यथयते ha madasaiva mam. So this sloka is very critical. This is the expression of Sanatan Goswami. And Rupa Goswami liked this expression so much that he quoted this in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, where he wants to prove, he wants to improve Krishna or Gopijana Vallabha, that I am very fallen, so that I can become the recipient of your ultimate mercy for sure. So this mercy principle is not that mercy, although mercy, Kripa is always unqualified, we always said it, correct? But in order to, again, unqualified and qualified. Although mercy is unqualified. Can we hear that? If anything is unqualified in this world, it is a mercy. But the recipient of mercy, one has to avoid the things which are detrimental to receive the causeless mercy of Krishna. Detrimental in the sense that what is detrimental to attain the mercy, although it is causeless? detrimental. Only the aparadha. Aparadha comes only by the sense of qualifiedness. So we should be able to see that others have gained greater mercy, and so that we can praise them, we can glorify them, because we have yet to get the ultimate mercy. So how can we not appreciate those who have got full mercy, and in order to attain that mercy, how much tribulations and how much struggle they have gone. So here, for our situation, it is said that Susevana Veshvya. Why he says we have to Susevana very, which means Susevana means that the practitioner who desires his own welfare should practice these 9 items so perfectly well that his heart that is polluted by lustful desires will swiftly become purified, and he will soon develop rati or prema. How he has to practice these 9 types of devotion, starting with hearing and chanting nicely, we will try to discuss a little on the basis of the sacred words of the Goswamis. For if the aspirant fails to serve or practice these items nicely, ninefold, or if he does not know how to practice them expertly, a big delay may arise in his attainment of prema as he progresses in his life of bhajan. How the item of hearing can be best practiced is described by Sri Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami is the first item is Shravanam, hearing. So what he's saying in Bhakti Sandarbha is describing, he's just sharing the secrets of success, secret of pure bhajan, hearing. Hearing means the oral reception or audial hearing. Shravanam is hearing, reception, audial reception of the sound vibrations concerning the Lord's names, form, attributes, and pastimes. So what is the main subject matter of hearing? In what sound vibrations we focus, or in our reception of hearing, what we focus, what we target? The Lord's holy names, forms, attributes, and pastimes. Of all topics to hear, again, the best topic is Srimad Bhagavatam. For Srimad Bhagavatam's words are most powerful and tasty. It is explained in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam how each of its words are most powerful. The great sage Srimad Narayan Rishi, correct, whose lotus feet are worshipped by the great saints, has revealed this Srimad Bhagavatam. And who were the recipients who heard that Bhagavatam from Narayan Rishi? The Chatur Kumaras. In it, but in Srimad Bhagavatam, in it are such powerful words that contain such a paramount relish that the Lord at once becomes captured in the heart of even a person who simply desires to hear it. That is the essence of the second sloka of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sadhyo ridyavarudyate trakriti sushrusubhistat kshanat dharma projit kaitavotra parmo nirmat saranam satam Vidyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam Tapatrayor Mulanam. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimba Paradishvara Sadhyo Hridya Varudya Tetra Kriti Bhi. This is what says. Simply by expressing the desire to hear it, the Lord at once becomes captured in the heart of even a person who simply desires. Sadhyo Hridya Varudya Tetra Kriti Bhi Sushrusubhit Tatskhanat. Sushrusubhit means simply by expressing the desire. Oh, I wish I can hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Simply by this desire, the Lord, oh my, somebody's desirous of hearing my katha. So let me sit in his heart. So Sadhyo Hridyava Rudya Tetra Kriti. So, is there any other kind of spiritual practice or hearing of a sacred book that promptly captures the Lord in the heart? Is there any other hearing? But even the very desire of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam attracts Krishna, captures the Lord to enter the heart of the person who simply expresses the desire to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Wow! We don't think of any other hearing, never. So this shows the natural greatness of the words contained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is most succulent, most juicy, rasamai. Hence it is said, anyone who is satisfied with the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the essence of all Vedanta scriptures, will not have taste for any other book or any other spiritual practice. This shows the deep relish that can be found in Srimad Bhagavatam. So here, we must consider, first of all, that the hearing of the Lord's holy names, forms, attributes, and pastimes is most auspicious. Of them, the narrations on the Lord, composed by great saints, are even more auspicious. And then, if these narrations that are composed by great saints are also sung and recited by great saints, churning the churn, more churning, it becomes. Bhagavatam is relished by devotees, then those who relish, they again further explain, becomes more relished by others. Because it adds up the realizations of more and more. See how wonderful the Bhagavatam which are originally given by in this succession, like then Shukadeva Goswami speaks to Parikshit Maharaj, then that was recited by Suta Goswami to Sonak Rishis. And further on, as many times more and more recited, the more juice comes out. So if these narrations that are composed by great saints are also sung and recited by great saints, then that is even more glorious. Again, even more auspicious. Then that is when the scripture Srimad Bhagavatam, which is composed by greatest saints, Sri Vyasa and Shukadeva Goswami, is sung by the great saints. Then again, if the holy names, attributes, and pastimes of Sri Hari that form Srimad Bhagavatam are heard from the mouth of a like-minded, deeply realized saint, then that will provide the greatest relish. Beyond that, again, although the pastimes of many of the Lord's avatars are narrated in Srimad Bhagavatam, the hearing of Sri Krishna's holy names, attributes, and pastimes is most fortunate. For he is the original personality of Godhead and the embodiment of sweetness himself. So from this teaching of Sri Jiva Goswami, who elaborated how one should practice this study of Bhagavatam, we can conclude that hearing about Sri Krishna's holy names, attributes, and pastimes as they are described in Srimad Bhagavatam from the mouth of a like-minded saint is very powerful and very tasty, and will make the practitioner's devotional item of hearing very successful. So what is the highest level of hearing? The hearing of Krishna's holy names, attributes, and pastimes, as they are described in Srimad Bhagavatam, from the mouth of a like-minded saint, is very powerful and very tasty, and will make the practitioner's devotional item of hearing very successful. So in hearing also there is a gradation. Taking Srimad Bhagavatam as the kernel, the Goswamis have composed so many books about Sri Krishna's pastimes, both from the angle of rasa and siddhanta philosophy. And all these books are also known under the hearing of Bhagavatam, like Bhagavata Sandarbha, Krishna Sandarbha. They are basically The foundation, the source material is Srimad Bhagavatam and related scriptures. But Bhagavatam is always established or used as the ultimate Praman. Praman means evidence. The pastimes of Sriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the joint form of Sri Radha Krishna, are described in scriptures like Sri Chaitanya Bhagavad and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, as well as this Prema Bhakti Chandrika and Pratna. And these books are similarly full of power and taste. Hearing all these scriptures from the mouths of like-minded saints will swiftly cause unfavorable obstacles to nice devotional service or pure devotional service to disappear. Hearing all these scriptures from the mouths of like-minded saints will simply cause unfavorable obstacles to this pure devotional service to disappear, and the practitioner who has taste for hearing these topics will soon be blessed with attainment of prema. This is called good practice of the item of hearing. Now we can also read about the kirtan. Kirtan means loudly singing of the glorious names, attributes, and pastimes of Sri Krishna. Particularly, the singing of the Lord's holy names is the religious practice of this age of Kali. Kalau tad Hari Kirtanam. This practice of Kirtanam, one has to participate because it directly involves one's tremendous tendency of speaking. Correct? Everybody wants to speak. So much gossip going on, correct? So the gossip can be converted into singing. And who doesn't want to speak? Everybody, at the earliest opportunity, one wants to express oneself. So three faculties of expression, correct? Something which becomes expressed in our mind, in our contemplation, and then through words and through actions. So this is in between the first expression of the mind, which is churning. We want to express. It's like, speak your heart out, correct? So how this tendency to speak is very prominent, and that's why if our practice of this singing or saying or speaking is engaged in singing Krishna's glories and pastime, etc., particularly the singing of the Lord's holy names, is the religious practice for this age of Kali. There is no practice greater than the chanting of the holy name of the Lord as a means to attain prema. There is no restriction in time, place, and circumstance, or who is qualified or unqualified. It is the greatest benefit for the living entities. It is endorsed and respected by all the saints and is practiced by innumerable sadhakas and siddhas. Nama Sankirtan is defined as the best means of attaining prema by all the scriptures. We are studying, this Vilapa Kusumanjali, and just in yesterday's writing, again that calling upon the name is most pleasing to the person. So Nam Sankirtan means calling upon the names of Krishna. So same point coming here. Although we may be discussing about the Supreme Lord to study in different ways, even somebody overhears people speaking about oneself, naturally one becomes very attentive. Oh, what somebody is speaking about me, whether it is they are speaking about in praising, or maybe something other, but one becomes very much attracted to. There was somebody talking about me. And now suddenly somebody calls upon the name. We are immediately drawn out. Oh, what do you want? What do you want? So in the same way, this Nam Sankirtan, this practice of the Nam Sankirtan is defined as the best means of attaining prema by all the scriptures. Who doesn't like to be called upon his name, and out of love, with great respect, with great honor. Same thing with Krishna, the original any practice or anything which attracts us, it is rooted in Krishna. Krishna is the source of everything. So uh, he is becoming attracted to someone calling upon his name is natural. That's why this practice of Nam Sankirtan, calling, reciting very lovingly and very fervently, emotionally, and beggingly, hankeringly, the name of Krishna is very pleasing to him. It's the best means of attaining prem by all the scriptures. Etan nirvidyamananam ichchatam akuto bhayam yoginam nipanirnitam hare namanu kirtanam. This is the essence of the teaching of Srimad Bhagavatam, especially in response to the question asked by Parikshit Maharaj to Shukdev Goswami. So what is the essence? What is the conclusion of all the teachings? What duty, what practice one should incorporate in order to attain the perfection of life, and especially for one who is set to die in 7 days. Everybody is just waiting for one of the 7 days. Is there any 8th day to die for us also? So we should put ourselves in practice of reciting Srimad Bhagavatam all the 7 days. And one of the 7 days will also be time and day of our departure. So we are no different than Parikshit Maharaj in that sense. One of the 7 days we will be also be outstayed. So all the scriptures describe that this Nam Sankirtan is defined as the best means of attaining prema. Sadhakanam, siddhanam, chenatah. There is no greater practice than this, either for practitioners or for accomplished devotees. For this reason, it is said, O King, this Nam Sankirtanam is the greatest means for those who have material desires or have their desires fulfilled. And it is also the greatest practice for those who hanker for liberation. Nama Sankirtan is also the main result of the practices of the yogis and the jnanis. Wow. One cannot escape, one cannot bypass, one cannot, over this practice of Nama Sankirtanam, because it is the greatest means for those who have material desire. Means no matter what kind of sadhaka one is, Nama Sankirtan is indispensable. So in his Srishtastakam also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally explained how this Nam Sankirtana can be nicely practiced so that it will yield prem. In Chaitanya Chaitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while discussing this Srishtastakam, he is just speaking to his closest associates, Sarup and Ramarai, Ramanrai Sur Goswami. He's telling here now from me how the holy name can yield prema. Je rupe loile naam prema upajay. Tahare lakshana shuno swarup ramarai. Trinadapi suni chene taroriva tarorupi saishmana amanina amanadena kirtaniya sadari. O Swarup and Ramanand Rai, hear now from me how the holy name can yield prema. Think yourself to be as lowly as a blade of grass. Be as tolerant or more tolerant than a tree. Give all honor to others and never expect any honor for yourself. So this concept of thinking of oneself as low as a blade of grass, what is more appreciable is lower than a blade of grass. One has to come to and become more tolerant than a tree. Tree, although tolerates everything, but how Nityanand Prabhu, even those who insulted and those who attacked him, he did not remain just careless. Okay, still he wanted to bless or become blessed with the mercy of Mahaprabhu, Jagai Madhayi. He could have remained careless and just and then Mahaprabhu would have killed them. So the tolerance of a tree is a limit, but the mercy of pure devotee or the merciful attitude of devotees towards the fallen conditioned souls, it extends, it goes beyond the tolerance of the tree. That's why, because the example is given of blade of grass and the tree, they have limitation, correct? But as a human being, even after tolerating so much opposition and atrocities, still the attitude of a devotee should be to always be merciful. Give all honor to others and never expect any honor for yourself. Mahaprabhu personally explained this verse as follows. He's starting. Although the devotee is the most elevated person, he considers himself to be lower than a blade of grass. And he tolerates everything in two ways, just like a tree. Even when a tree is cut, it does not say anything. And even when it dries up and dies, it does not ask anyone for water. But it gives its own wealth for free to anyone who may ask for it. Protecting others while tolerating heat and rain. Although the Vaishnava is the greatest personality, he is devoid of pride and he honors all living entities, knowing that Krishna dwells in them. Jive Samman Divo Jane Krishna Adhishthana. Every living entity is worthy of our respect. And a devotee thinks that, yeah, Krishna resides in his heart. So how he can be not worthy of my respect? If Krishna has taken shelter in his heart, although Krishna is the shelter for the whole existence, but simultaneously Krishna has taken shelter in the heart of every living entity. So every living entity, no matter what, is worthy of my respect. So one should not hate anybody. We don't go and engage with all the living entities. That because Krishna is residing in your heart, so I will go and shake hands with you. Mr. Snake, Krishna is residing in your heart, so let me shake hands with you. We stay away from the snake and tiger and other things which can. The whole idea is that we don't show any hatred towards any being, but we cannot deal with them on equal platform. Equal vision we can be. Equivision means we can see commonly the Paramatma residing each and everyone's heart. But scripture don't say that Samadarshi, Pandita Samadarshana. It is not a Pandita Samavartana. Vartana means dealing with. We cannot deal with a snake or a tiger or a dog on the same platform or same way as we will deal with the learned scholar, Vaishnava or anyone else. Correct? So Samadarshi one can be. That doesn't mean that one does not understand properly what is the meaning of Samadarshi. Seeing somebody with the equivision doesn't mean that we deal with them on the equal platform, because different have different standing. So although the Vaishnava is the greatest personality, he is devoid of pride and he honors all living beings, knowing that Krishna dwells in them. Whoever chants the name of Krishna in this way will attain love for Sri Krishna's lotus feet. So cultivating, sustaining, or powering any hate towards any living entity, if we simply appreciate that Krishna is residing in their heart, and in that mood of no hatred towards anybody, if we continue our practice of chanting the holy name, we will attain love for Krishna's lotus feet. Sri Krishna means Radha Krishna. So Srila Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita also gives a warning label to this verse by writing. He says that raising my arms, I tell you, hear me, O folks. Ujjva bahu kori kohi, shuno sarva lok, naam sutre gathi poro kanthe ei shloka, prabhu आज्ञाय करो ए श्लोक आचरण अवश्य पाइबे तबे श्री कृष्ण प्रेमधन श्री कृष्ण चरण. Raising my arms, I tell you, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, hear me, O friends, O folks, string this verse, this Trinada piece on the necklace of Harinam and hang it around your necks. Follow the teachings of this verse on the Lord's order, and you will certainly attain Sri Krishna's lotus feet. The purport of these words is that one must constantly remember this verse while chanting the holy name, and always anxiously pray to the holy name for the attainment of this state of mind, and submit that eagerness of heart also. That is because unless and until that stage is attained, that mood of thinking of oneself lower than the straw in the street and more tolerant than the tree. That is because unless and until that stage is attained, that mood, that attitude is attained, prema, which is the main result of taking or main ultimate fruit of taking the holy name, will not be attained. The proper implementation of this verse is the best means. The proper implementation of this verse is the best means to chant the holy name without offenses. So if we remain offenseless, that we can always implement this verse, only this offenses deprive us to sustain that mood of Trinada Krishna. Since offenses are the most powerful obstacles to the attainment of prema in this otherwise very powerful process of chanting the holy names. How to keep the offenses away? Because offenses are the very thing which deprive us to sustain this mood. And so offenses are very detrimental, correct? The holy name is not satisfied with an offender, and although an offender may perform kirtana for a very long time, the holy name will not wish to bestow prema upon him. Anyone who wishes to swiftly attain prema by nicely practicing Harinam Sankirtanam, which is the religious practice for this age of Kali, must do so while avoiding 10 offenses to the holy name. The root word Radha means satisfaction. Aparadha means which blocks or creates an impasse, creates an obstacle for the satisfaction of the Lord. The root is Radha, means satisfaction. When there is aparadha, offense, then this satisfaction, Radha, is removed, upper, and the holy name conceals his great power. What is the greatest power of holy name? To bestow love of God. He conceals, the holy name conceals his great power, as a result of which the offender of the name is unable to nicely serve the holy name. What to speak of attaining nice devotional service? What to speak of attaining nice devotional service? Offenses to the holy name have all kinds of poisonous fruits, such as faithlessness, crookedness, kapatan, absorption in things other than Krishna, desires for profit, adoration, and distinction, and slackness in chanting the holy name. Again, aparadha, which means taking away upper satisfaction, rather, taking away the satisfaction of the Lord, will take away the perfect fruit of chanting the holy name, for it will make all the bhajan practice by the sadhakas futile, useless, fruitless. Futile means fruitless, correct? Useless. Go west. Spiritual things will appear mundane, and mundane things will appear spiritual. How the aparadha does the trick to the wrong end? Desires for enjoyment will awaken the desire for enjoyment, and he will justify, a practitioner will justify. He thinks that he has been blessed with this means to attain sense gratification. So his desires for enjoyment will awaken within the heart and mind of the sadhaka, as a result of which the sadhaka will not be blessed by taking shelter of the holy name. We are briefly mentioning the 10 offenses to the chanting of the holy name. The names are already described. So basically, avoiding these 10 offenses will result in a susevana. Sevana means practicing, susevana means very attentively. Nice service. So what is nice service of the holy name, chanting holy name? By chanting without offenses. So avoiding these 10 offenses will result in a susevana, nice service of the devotional practice of Nam Sankirtana. Third is Smarana. So we covered Shravana, Kirtan. Now third is out of the 9-fold devotional. Third is Shravana. Shravana means fixing one's mind on the Lord's holy name, attributes, and pastimes is called Smarana. Smarana means remembering, fixing one's mind. The remembrance of Sri Hari is the very life force of all spiritual practice. Ultimately, the remembrance of the Lord, the basic fundamental direction in the Vedas, what all the practice is meant to do, to cause the remembrance all the time. Smartabhya satatam Vishnur vismartabyona jatuchit sarve vidhi nishedhashur etayor eva kinkarha. So this remembrance of Sri Hari is the very life force of all spiritual practices. But in the devotional practice of Smarana, it is absolutely necessary to fix one's mind. When the mind is not pure, it is not possible to concentrate. In other words, unless the dirt of other topics is removed, the heart is not said to be purified. And the practice of recalling will not be possible for anyone. If the mind is impurified, it will just wander after so many unwanted things and won't be able to concentrate on the nama, rupa, etc., or won't be able to recall or the remembrance of the Lord. Hence, Sri Jiva Goswami has written, he says that when the mind is purified by the process of surrender, one should practice the devotional item of recollection along with the chanting of the holy name. So in Sharanagati, when the mind is purified by the process of surrendering unto whom? Surrendering to that authority, spiritual authority. And one should practice the devotional item of this smaranam along with means remembering what? To be able to remember Krishna's Nam, Rupa, Gunlila all the times. Simply by chanting, but still, if we simply keep on chanting, still the you may not have the focus. Besides, remembering is a conscious effort. Sometimes we chant, sometimes we hear, even while hearing, apparently we are hearing, but if the attention is not there, and even by simply by chanting, we may be chanting, still our mind may be wandering somewhere else. But when we are conscious of remembering something, then we find this very, very powerful. So when the mind is purified by the process of surrender, one should practice the devotional item of recollecting along with chanting the holy name. The purport of this is that as the heart of the practitioner gets purified by practicing devotional items, what are the beginning with? When the heart of the practitioner gets purified by practice of devotional items like faith, Adav Shraddha, faith, surrender, rendering service to Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas, and the hearing and chanting, the devotional item of recollection or remembering must become blissful to practice accordingly. So it's a very conscious, when you do something with remembrance, you become more focused rather than just passing time, while chanting or hearing. But if the remembrance is incorporated or connected with the hearing and chanting, then we can find our focus in chanting Krishna's holy name, his form, his pastimes, and all his qualities. Remembering makes it very, very focused, concentrated. So, the devotional item of recollecting or remembrance must become blissful to practice accordingly. The practitioner who is engaged in the item of recollecting, this recollection means remembering, will gradually be able to advance through different stages if he ardently endeavors and arrive. If he ardently endeavors and arrives in the kingdom of Bhav Siddhi. Yeah, because this remembering becomes very critical. So this smarnam, it very much can help and expedite our attaining the stage of Bhav Bhakti. That's what it says. So this limb of devotion, Nauda Bhakti item of remembering or recollection, it has 5 stages, such technical, which are described as smarnam. Then dharana means holding whatever we remember, we should be able to hold on to. The dhyana means uninterrupted recollection. The next stage is dhruvanusmriti, like a dhruvanusmriti which flows like a stream of nectar, continuity. And then pure contemplation in meditation is called samadhi. As a result of susevan, a nice practice of this Shravanam Bhakti, the practitioner will gradually be blessed with Bhav Samadhi, pure loving fun. And who is the ideal of Smarna Bhakti? Who attains perfection by constantly remembering Sri Hari? Huh? Hari Smarnam, Hari Smarnam, Hari Smarnam, Hari Smarnam. So that was Prahlad Maharaj. After this, the Pada Sevana. Pada Sevana, the word Pada means, Pada Sevana indicates the, Pada means the lotus feet, Sevana means worship. So Pada Sevana indicates great devotion or respect. Very notion, when one has to touch somebody's lotus feet or feet, one bows down, correct? So it shows the sign of respect or devotion. In other words, it is not that we only have to serve the Lord's feet, but also his lotus face. If you surrender to the lotus feet, that means you surrender to the everything. So that's why it's a mood of surrender and honoring and worship to serve the lotus feet. So if one agrees to serve the lotus feet, which is apparently the lowest part of the body, then you want mind to serve the whole body as well, no? But if you say no, I can only touch the top part of the body, or I cannot just go down. That means there is no mood of surrender. Surrender means everything, no? His lotus hands and all his other limbs. This means we must render service with the greatest respect and attention. Service should be rendered according to time, place, and circumstances. Seva means formal temple worship. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prithu Maharaj, Prithu Pujanam, who is the ideal, describing the ideal for Sevanam. Prithu Maharaj has spoken to Sri Vishnu about relishing this type of service. O Lord, when taste awakens for the service of your lotus feet, it will swiftly destroy mankind's pollution or mind's pollution. That is sensual cravings. Prithu Maharaj is revealing his experience. He says, O Lord, when taste awakens for the service of your lotus feet, it will swiftly destroy mankind, in people in general, or basically minds, human beings, or mankind's pollution, or mind's pollution. Mankind's pollution or mind's pollution. Either way. That is sensual cravings, accrued over innumerable lifetimes of mundane life, just as the Ganga, the Ganges, that emanates from your big toe, sanctifies the three worlds. This is a description of the concomitant result of taste for the Lord's food service or good devotional service. Actually, the real result of the devotee's taste for the Lord's food service is the desire to serve these lotus feet and nothing more. So in Bhagavatam again, in the prayers of Sri Muchukund, Maharaj told Sri Bhagavan Krishna, न कामये अन्यम तव पाद सेवना अकिंचन प्रार्थयत प्रार्थ्य मद माद वरम विभो आराध्य कस्त्वम यप वर्गदम हरि गुणोत्तो आर्यो वरम आत्मबंधनम. O Lord, I do not wish for any other boon but the service of your lotus feet. Wow. I do not wish for any other boon but the service of your lotus feet, which is constantly prayed for by those who have given up all lusty desires. Wow. Oh Hari, who would accept liberation when he is already engaged in worshipping you? So the result of fruit of worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord is not liberation, but remain in the service of the lotus feet. I would rather pray for my own bondage than to accept liberation. Wow. This is very powerful sloka in Bhagavad. You say, I will rather stay in the bondage of this material birth than to ask for liberation by worshipping the lotus feet. Although you are called Mukunda. Mukunda means the general simple meaning is one who gives liberation. But I would not want liberation because then I will be deprived of your service. But if I remain in bondage, maybe some other day I will get your mercy so that I can become engaged. I can be allowed to become engaged in your eternal service as your eternal associate. But one who hankers for or one who accepts liberation, then he becomes deprived of that engagement in the service of the Lord's feet of the Lord. So this devotional item of food service or feet service includes seeing and touching the deity, circumambulating and following the deity, going to a temple, and occasional holy dips in the Ganga, and sacred places like Purushottam Kshetra, Puri, Jagannath Puri, Dwarka, Mathura, etc. Since these sub items are like associates of main item of fifth service. Now the ninth service, the fifth is Archana. How much time we have? I don't know. Okay. I think we can stop here for then next five we'll cover in the next so much reading. So thank you very much for your patient hearing. We have such a treasure, the ocean treasure of transcendence in these books of our predecessor acharyas, and by the acknowledging and feeling their great mercy, we will continue in our engagement in this practice of Bhagavad Dharma is a part of the satsang. So we can stop here, invite some participation. Thank you once again. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Am I audible? Super, super.
जी श्री
Hare Krishna,
प्रणाम
Shri
श्री
Guru.
हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna. How this sun is reflecting, the sunshine is reflecting here. Put the lights on. Pick bus. Second from the left. Second from the left. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Shri Guru. Pranam, Shri Guru.
Hare Krishna. Welcome.
As always, fascinating satsang, Shri Guru. And like Narottam Das Thakur, Rup Sanatan Goswami, all the acharyas, what they have left and giving us, you are presenting that condensed and detailed form, everything, and at every level for my progressive evolution in Krishna consciousness. Lots of wisdom, Shri Guru, in each and every word, in each and every sentence of yours. One thing particularly in this satsang, in today's satsang, is this aparad, or why I'm not humble, and this offenses, don't know how long list of offenses, and also the key to becoming humble, Shri Guru, you mentioned in this satsang. Somehow continuing to seek your divine shelter, Shri Guru, and the association of like-minded devotees. In reality, to understand this mood of Manjari Bhav, or what Mahaprabhu is giving, somehow if I can prepare myself coming to this desire, Shri Guru, under your divine guidance, shelter, care, love, everything, Shri Guru, for your pleasure. Pranam, Shri Guru.
Yeah, at least worrying and remaining concerned that I have a long way to go. Actually, and until one is awakened and becomes situated in his Swarup. So this awareness we will be always reminded, as to what we are up to and what we should be up to. But interesting, you said that condense and elaborate. Can something be simultaneously condense and elaborate? But we like the expression that it is elaborated enough because we have not reached the end of it, correct? At the same time, we can always feel the unlimited ocean of nectar condensed in our targeting Radha Darshan. So it will always remain simultaneously condensed, and also in order to engage our time in our faculties of expression, the mind, body, and the speech, we can find endless nectar to be elaborated upon. So it's an elaboration of the same condensed subject matter which Mahaprabhu has come to give. So in practice, we can utilize lot of elaboration, correct? At the same time, keep the focus very condensed. We cannot afford to lose the condensity of our focus of our destination while elaborating endlessly, even as long as we live anywhere. We can never reach the limit or end of elaboration. So we can have both simultaneously. And this is paradoxical, but it is very sweet. So, yes, naturally. So it is, the onus is on us, because the temptation is great. The greed, if we feel, then that will keep us tuned in. Because just because having the information that something is so rare and so priceless, we have to feel it. Having information and having a feel of it is a two different thing, correct? Those who express their experience, considering it very valuable, very, very rare, and that's why, but their greed for it made them go for it, although it is very rare and very, very, because greed itself will give us the proper attitude of humility. Have you seen a beggar in destitute? He doesn't care being insulted or just named like anything, as long as he knows that what he wants he can get from by begging, by praying, by this person. And sometimes I've seen that out of frustration, the person just gives him whatever he wants and just get away. But the person who is begging, he got what he wanted, correct? So greed is such a powerful thing. Greed will free us from the, what is the word I want to use? If we are greedy for something, we don't mind being insulted. We don't mind being undermined or neglected or anything, as long as we can get the object of our greed. So at that time, one is not feeling about why somebody is calling me, why somebody is insulting me. The Trinadapi Sunichena is very easily practiced. If we have developed the greed for something, and in order to get the object of our greed, we won't mind to becoming Trinadapi Sunichena Tarupi Saishnuna Amanina Mandina. We don't care whether somebody respects me or not. And I am ready to give all respect to anybody as long as I can accomplish. So Mahaprabhu is helping us. Yes, we find our focus in our object. Finding a focus means becoming greedy. A greedy person is always very focused, correct? If he finds out that he can get the object of his greed somewhere under such dire situation, such a vichitra time, he wouldn't mind. The greed is so powerful. And on this path, our greed, uh, experiencing real greed for the object of our goal, that will give us the proper attitude. If we don't have sufficient greed, then we will be affected, influenced by the atmosphere or the external elements like that. Awakening of the Swarupa means feeling that greed. How can I not have that thing? Then comes, how can I get it? First of all, how can I be without it? Then you will follow all the necessary means and rules, regulations to get it. How can I remain bereft of it? If that is the hankering, then one will take all the steps how to get it. The focus is tremendous. When a person is greedy after something, he will get such a focus that at the slightest opportunity, he will just go ahead from the rest of the people, So our bhakti will become intense. The prana, when it is accompanied with greed, accompanied by greed. Without greed, it remains casual. But still, we should hanker for the greed. But the greed itself is hankering, correct? So we should pray for the greed like that. Anyway, we have ocean of literature to get more and more elaboration to help us find our condensed focus or greed. All right? So the elaboration is only also to cause our greed, Hare Krishna.
Beautiful, Shri Guru. Koti koti pranam, Shri Guru.
Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Shri Guru.
Yes, welcome.
Very beautiful satsang Shri Guru. Such incredible points you explain as always. Shri Guru, one question. Today you explained in this Navda Bhakti, you mentioned names of devotees who perfected their devotion with the each ang of Navda Bhakti, like Smaranam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. So when Atma Nivedanam, Shri Guru, you mentioned Bali Maharaj. But isn't like the best example of Atma Nivedam should be gopis or in any part of Navda Bhakti?
Yeah, they have. That's a very, very, very good question. So the devotees mentioned in this, it's showing the appreciation for every one of them. So devotee out of humility, although he's targeting very high, he's targeting the gopi bhava, ultimately the manjari bhava. But he thinks that even those, at whatever aspiration they had in Dasya Bhakti or Shravan Kirtan, etc., they are also glorifiable. And that's why Atma Nivedan, this Bali Maharaj, how many people are able to do that even? Sadhaka thinks that, wow, if we were in a position of Bali Maharaj, would we be able to do it? We just share this information of stalwart devotees. Okay. So you can understand this, na? So Atma Nivedan in gopis for the kut ke bhara hai. But their position is very elevated. We have to just come step by step by showing and expressing our appreciation for all of them. Gopis are beyond this sadhana bhakti. They are in the purest raga platform. So by gaining appreciation for all the devotees, they are all ahead of us. We can see them ahead of us. So through that appreciation, we may be blessed with raga also eventually. Hare Krishna. So we can wind up today because we have next engagement coming up. Is
Yes.
we'll see you join in 1.5 hours the Kirtan. All
Hare
right.
Shri Guru. Pranam.
I will think over your question is very deep. I myself not satisfied to discuss this more. So let me also have some time to do some contemplation. Hare Krishna.
Pranam Shri Guru. Hare Krishna.
Premanande Hari 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 Bo.
We will all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times in honor and love for our dear Shri Guru.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare.
From our heart, we will call out Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajak Acharya Ashtottara Shat Shri Swamini Kripa Murti Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Swarup Govind Maharaj ki
Jai, Jai, Jai.
Samavit Nitai Gaur Bhaktavind ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Hari
Hari Bol.
Preman.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Shri Guru.
Hare Krishna Shri Swami Matastu Hindu.
Pranam Shri Guru. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Pranam Shri Guru. Hare Krishna.
Swamini Matastu everyone. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Shri Guru.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna.